Hello, this is Glenn Denny, and welcome to Circle Time, the Early Years podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to start our new series of podcasts, talking to the amazing author, consultant, and I think above all, lecturer, nearly forgot that bit, and above all, practitioner at heart and forever will be, the lovely Dawn Rigby. Dawn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely brilliant. Now, you delighted to talk to you as well, especially because just before we kind of started recording, we were just talking about your new book, which is Making Play Work in Early Years Settings, Tales from the Sandpit.
Yes.
Which I just love the little tagline there, but Tales from the Sandpit. But we were just talking about like the importance of play in that. But before we get on to that, just tell me a little bit about your background and like where you are now, but how have you got to where you are now, basically?
Well, my main job, I suppose, to earn the money is I'm a lecturer. I work for a company called Activate Learning at Bracknell and Wokingham College, but we're part of, we run the degree through Reading University. So it's children's and learning development and learning, 0 to 11 years. So that's where I am at the moment. And I'm also, my main role really is I'm an early years teacher, as you said, will and always will be. If anybody asks me, what do you do? I always say I'm an early years teacher. I never say I'm a lecturer. I always go, oh, and I lecture as well. So the beauty of my role these days is that I'm in setting primarily for the children. I don't have any other specific role anymore. I'm bank staff, called in as and when I'm needed. And every other time I go in, it is to go and be with the children, to literally play with the children. So my background is how I've got to here. I suppose I started teaching 20 plus years ago, 25, something like that, working in a variety of different settings. I worked in a private nursery attached to a private school, various settings, and I've been lecturing since 2010. So I've done level 3 and degrees.
So, you know, it's funny. We were like I say, we were talking before, and I was saying like I'm currently reading your book, and it was like very much it's singing to me about how play is important. But also just listening to your kind of journey there, and it sounds so familiar because I've been in early years for about 25 years as well. I've had a couple of little career breaks where I think, is this really what I want to do? And I always seem to get drawn back. There is something about it.
Definitely.
No matter all the uphill struggles, and you'll know it as well. Like we're constantly battling against something or other when really it's like we're being told from outside agencies. I'm not going to say who, but I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
but
we know.
We're constantly battling, and it's like from people that don't know our sector and don't understand what we're about, and they keep forcing things onto us. But yet we're still here, we're still doing it. And
we are.
Would you agree? It's like, I mean, it was just something you said there as well. It's like, you're there to play with the children. And I think we're all about what the children are learning and getting from what we bring to them, you know?
Yeah.
And I think
absolutely,
that's why
I 100%. Yeah, I 100% agree. And like you, I have moments, some more than others, where I think, why am I doing this? Why am I still working in this profession? Because as you say, it can be hugely frustrating when we are having all these outside forces where we know they don't understand child development, we know they don't understand our profession, or even worse, have any respect for our profession. So there are those moments where I think, that's it, I'm done, I've had enough, I've done my time. But there's something that keeps me there. And I think it's that little bit of fight that's still in me that believes that I can change the world and I can do it one step at a time. And I may go backwards a few times, but I'll keep pushing, because what matters are those children. And they deserve for people like us to stand up and say, no, we know what's right, and we're here and we're going to fight for you.
Absolutely. You know, and I think that's coming across clear in your book as well, that, you know, play is, and I think this is why we have that fight, is that we understand that play is the tool for learning that children have inbuilt with them. And yet our outside forces are coming in saying, oh no, you must follow this curriculum. But we know that's not right. It's not how children learn.
Absolutely, it's not. You know, all mammals play. We see it all the time. If you watch any nature program, you're always going to see that clip of mammals playing together. It's how they learn their place in the world. It's how they find out what's what. And it might look chaotic to people that don't understand it, but for those of us that do, we 100% see the benefits of play. It is how children learn. It's how they learn everything. It's the best way that they learn. And the beauty of play is, well, a number of things. For me, play is joyful, and that's what childhood should be. But children are learning holistically without even realizing that that's what they're doing. They don't know that they're learning something. And once you start saying, right, children, today we're going to learn such and such, it's boring. I don't want to do that.
It's literally like the lights go off, isn't it?
The lights go off, you've lost them. And what's so important about our age group that we work with early years is we don't want to be turning them off. We want to be turning them on. We want to build that lifelong learner in them. And we've got to get it right early. We do.
Oh my goodness, yes. And you know, I mean, I was saying as well, like the setting that I'm in, we are very much in the moment planning, which I know you talk about in the book as well.
Yes, yes.
And you know, it's such a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I think possibly maybe slightly misunderstood or even ignored by our outside forces, that it's such a wonderful, amazing tool because it allows us to get to know our key children so much more deeply than sitting down and go, right, today I'm going to plan this for you. And it's not, we cannot shove our children into boxes and like say, right, that's it. That's that bit of the curriculum done. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. And I think what makes people nervous about in the moment planning is that next steps. How are we going to make sure they achieve their next steps? And what I always say, because one of the things I forgot to say in my little introduction was I do training for colleagues and in the moment planning as well, is the next steps just happen so naturally when you're engaging in playful interactions with children. Because if you're child-led, if they're doing something that they're interested in, well, there's a tick to start with. Because if we're interested in something, we're going to be wanting to do it, aren't we? That's just human nature. That's with any of us. So if the children have chosen to do whatever it is that they're doing, they're interested, they're engaged, and their next steps are going to happen very organically, very naturally, right then, in that moment, when it makes the most sense to that child. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, you know, when we're doing our forward planning, but right there and then. They can make all of those connections, can't they?
Oh, too right. I mean, the key part of it is in the moment as well. And, you know, I've seen it myself in practice that, you know, that the children are doing something and I've observed them playing at something and I've gone, oh, hang on, would you like me to add this to it? And I brought some other things in. I can't remember what it was, I think it was something to do with animals or something. And so I got the farm animals and I brought them in and said, well, I could add that as well. But I didn't take over. It's that real fine balance that we've got.
Oh, it is.
We're not to take over. I'm just adding another prompt and then I'm going to step back. You know, it's really important that I don't stay. I step back and I just say, maybe you'd like that, you know, and it's just that little prompt. And because, you know, you were saying as well about, you know, play being fundamental to us and other mammals as well. And it's very, very true. And that's why I think in the moment planning is very organic, you know, because we are organic creatures. So I think that's why it works.
I agree wholeheartedly. And one of the things I talk a lot about is what you were just saying, that idea of playful interaction with a child. You're not stepping in and saying, right, actually, I, the adult, know what's best here. I know what you should be learning, so we're going to do this. You're not doing that. You are prompting, you are being a provocation. You yourself can be a provocation. And the child will see you as a playful adult, somebody they want to interact with and connect with. Then that's how you get to know them so much better. That's how you develop relationships with the children. And then you're going to know even more instinctively what those prompts or provocations should be. And that's crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, talking about knowing key children really well. So in my setting, we have a wooden boat in our garden, and it was one of these things where they decided they wanted to be pirates, and I just joyfully came along one day and said, "Oh, don't jump in the water, I'm a shark." And now it's that bit where they've remembered this, and it's
Yeah.
like, are you going to be the shark again? And it's like, it's that memory, and it's like, they're kind of provoking me into playing that game again. And it's like, well,
Yes.
okay, I'll be the shark, right? Look out, here I come, And it's that bit, well, we as practitioners can get so bogged down in planning wonderful, wonderful, amazing things, and actually we're missing that moment that's there and then in front of us.
Absolutely. And I always think to myself, because I'm in that lucky position that I get to go in and play with the children, that what a privilege that is for a child to invite you into their play. But I don't think there's anything better for us as practitioners, because we were talking earlier, weren't we? We didn't get into this job to do lots of paperwork and write lots of observations and write lots of planning sheets. No. We got into this job, into this profession, to be with the children.
Yes.
And I find in the moment planning, engaging with children in playful interactions is what it's all about. There's nothing better. And as I just said, such a privilege. How lucky are we that they want us to play with them, to be that shark?
Absolutely. It's that bit where, I find that the more play is central to what we do rather than curriculum and assessment and all that, the more the children are, we're building relationships with the children, and they're building secure relationships with them. And that is so key to their later life, that they understand that they can have secure relationships and their emotional well-being. There's big talk about emotional well-being, and I think again, play has a huge amount to do with that if we are there to play and to engage and to be there, then children's emotional well-being is really, really, secure and, looked
Definitely.
after.
Yeah. And again, the fact that you are playing with the children shows to them that you value what they have to say, what they're interested in, what they want to do. Because again, you're not being that adult saying, no, that's not important right now. What I think we should be doing is what's important. You're not doing that. You're going, yeah, absolutely, I'll be the shark. You want to be pirates. Yeah. I'm valuing what those children want to do at that particular moment. And for that child, they think, here's an adult who genuinely is interested in me, genuinely wants to be with me. There, suddenly you've got those emotional connections, haven't you? You've got that. Absolutely. I feel valued, I feel safe, I feel secure. And as you totally rightly say, that's going to build for them going through their future schooling.
Definitely. I mean, it was like, again, it was that kind of emotional thing. And, if you stop and think about it, like yesterday in my setting, I was quite busy in my room. Now, I look after 2-year-olds, so I have. Honestly, I don't know. Some people go, no, 2-year-olds, not a chat. I love 2-year-olds. I think they are the best age. I really do, because they are just this massive ball of emotions, and they don't know where to go with it all.
Yes,
but I love it. Absolutely love it. But yesterday we were really, really busy. It was like we were full that day. So my team and myself had arranged that let's free flow from our messy room into the garden. So the way my room is set up, I can free flow from our cozy room through to our messy room, or we can then free flow from the garden. We're quite lucky our garden connects to the messy room, so we decided to do that. But it was nice, like, because we're talking about the secure attachment, actually our children were secure enough that they didn't actually need us when they were outside. And we actually sat back and we were talking about it as a team later on in the day. It's like, do you know what? They actually just went off and they went into their own little groups and they were playing, and we were able to just sit back and watch and listen and observe. And it was nice, because I feel sometimes when you're having to write all this masses of planning to fill whatever or tick whatever box, you're not actually seeing that. And actually we were able to sit back and go, our children are secure enough to do this, and we were able to watch this. What a privilege.
What a privilege. And I think that's just so important. And I think for some practitioners as well, that's that can be quite challenging. That can feel, oh my goodness, I must be doing something all the time. I must be with the children all the time. But that's about having the confidence in yourself as a professional. And as you say, understanding those children and knowing they don't need me right now, but I'm here, I'm present. If they do need me, they can come to me, but I'm observing, I can see. And we do need to sit back and observe, because as we've said before, sometimes we can go in because we think we should and start engaging, and we spoil everything.
Yeah.
Whereas if we just left it and we observed those children, we could see, no, we're not needed right there. They're lovely and secure, they're having a great time. But maybe, oh, over there just now, we might be needed. But we just need to give children time. We're so obsessed with, no, I've got to get in there. I've got to be seen to be doing something all the time. And we really, really don't. I talk about that a lot with practitioners, believe in yourself, believe in your professionalism. You know those children best. And if you've been able to develop those relationships with them that we've just been talking about, then they know that you're there for them. They know you're that adult for them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's that bit where, you kind of touched on it there, that sometimes from on high, we're almost sometimes made to feel like if we're just sitting back watching, then we're not actually working.
Yeah,
actually, we are.
Yeah,
we absolutely are, because we're watching, we're observing, we're going, they're really into doing something there. Right, that's something we could maybe do an invitation for later. We could set something up for that. Brilliant, they're really into that. Or oh, it's really nice, these two are playing together. They never normally play together. That's interesting.
Yeah, we do need that time. And also the opportunity to sit back and look at our environment and see what's working, what's not working. That's an important part of it as well. Do we need to add anything? Do we need to change anything? The children are playing really, really interesting, deeply engaged over there, but not so much over here. What can we do about that? So yes, the children absolutely need time for themselves, but we need some time as well to observe. And you're right, it's not understood higher up. It isn't. And we do feel that pressure. And we really shouldn't, should we?
I'm going to ask you a controversial question, just because
because
I can. It's my podcast, and I can do what I want.
Go for it.
But do you think that's because we obviously right now, I mean, I know there's lots of other careers that are having the same kind of issues, but we are having, and have had for a long time, a recruitment problem. We really can't recruit enough qualified practitioners in, and we've obviously had a lot leave as well. When we're just not retaining people. Do you think that because there's so many external pressures and expectations for curriculum and all this kind of thrown at us, do you think that puts a lot of people off wanting to either come into it or even stay in it?
I do. I mean, we both said it earlier, didn't we? We didn't get into this job to be doing lots of paperwork. We got in it to be with the children. And as that becomes less and less of what we do because of external pressures, where's the enjoyment for us? Where's the satisfaction for us? And also, I think, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, but there's so much negativity around education, teaching, and very much in early years. That attitude that our job isn't very important, that we're basically childcare. We're just there so that parents can go off and work while we just look after the children and we just play with the children. And I think that puts people off as well, because we want parity, don't we? We want to feel we know how important our job is. And I think we would quite like to be respected for the role that we do. And I don't feel that we are. I think there's such a lot of negativity. There's such a lot of, and again, we don't want to be political, but we are looked down on, I feel. And even, and I'm going to be perhaps a little bit more controversial, even by our primary and our secondary colleagues in schools, we can be looked down on a little bit in early years, because I don't think they appreciate the knowledge that we have, that child development knowledge that we have, that attachment that we understand and develop that we were talking about. And they don't see the importance of play, because sadly they don't understand the importance of play.
No, and that, that's the thing. It's like when we train, I mean, I think, like, I agree with you that we're not seen as on par with our teaching colleagues in schools, but actually we're teachers in a different way. And, you know, I wanted to seem, you know, to have that kind of professional, I don't know, background and everything, that yes, I got my level 3, and then I moved on to my level 5, and then I got my degree, because I wanted to say, look, actually, I'm not just about there. I'm not a babysitter.
No.
I actually know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I am a professional in this sector. I am somebody that understands child development. I am somebody that understands a little bit about child psychology and child neuroscience. You know, there's so much about our job. And, you know, lots of people just don't understand it.
No, they don't. And I think critically as well, it's called the early years foundation stage for a reason, isn't it? It is the foundation. If we don't get it right here in these early years, then children are going to struggle for the rest of their schooling and potentially into their adult life. This is such an important stage in childhood, you know, and we as early years teachers, practitioners, we have such an important role, because we can really nurture and support those children so that they are able to move into year 1 much more successfully.
Definitely. I mean, I think it does show really that, you know, I'm thinking back to something we'd said previously about, you know, that we're not in this job to do masses and masses of paperwork. We're there for the children. And, you know, thinking back to some of the children I've looked after, and that I'm still, some of my children from way back when I first started, I'm still in contact with them now. And they still remember the games I played, and the songs that we sang. They remember all of that. They don't remember me going off to do paperwork. You know, I mean, I barely remember the paperwork. I try to forget it, if I'm honest. But it's that bit that, you know, yes, we play, but we play with a purpose. You know, our play isn't just random, maybe slightly, but there's random with a purpose. That's basically what I'm trying to say, is it's play with a purpose.
And we understand the theory behind play as well. We can look and observe the play that we are seeing from the children, and we can understand and make those connections. We know why they're playing in that particular way. We understand they're at that part of their development that they're playing in this way. So it isn't just, it sounds so very simple, play, doesn't it? But play is such a complicated word. It's really misunderstood. And it's something that is very difficult to describe, but you know, that's what we do, that's what we work with, and yeah, it isn't just nonsense. It's very, very important.
It really is. I mean, there's so much that, you know, and I know we understand this, and hopefully anybody listening to this podcast will go, yes, we get it. But hopefully people that aren't in this sector that might listen to this podcast will go, oh, right, okay. But it's such a complex way of teaching, but we're not necessarily the teachers, if that makes sense. It's we're providing the tools for the children to teach themselves. We're there to scaffold and to support.
Definitely.
And to be that, you know, those arms that they jump into when they go, yes, we've done it, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, we're facilitating it, aren't we? You know, and we're giving them all the tools that they need to be able to go off and explore and discover for themselves. We're enabling all of that to happen because we've really thought and understood what they need, and we've made sure that the environment is suitable for those particular children that we have in front of us right here, right now, because we've built those relationships with those children right here, right now. You know, what you are going to be doing here now in October is not what you're going to be doing with the children come June, July, because they'll have moved on, and you will have understood that, and you will have adapted and changed to meet those needs then.
Absolutely. You know, it's amazing to think that, you know, just those simple things that we do, like the games that we play, the songs that we sing and all that, actually will have a profound effect for such a long time in those child's lives. And like you say, it's like the foundation is what we're about. You know, we are building that foundation, but we do it with knowledge about how children learn and develop. and we know that play is king.
Absolutely. And the fact that we're there, we're interested, as we've said before, we've nurtured, we have enabled those children to have that security and that safety that we talked about right at the beginning, to be able to go on and be successful in their schooling. And you're right, they will remember all those things, but perhaps more importantly, they'll remember the feeling of being in your setting. They'll remember what that felt like, that they were valued and listened to, and everybody there was interested in them and cared what they thought and what they wanted to do. That nobody turned around and said, no, we're not doing that today. No, that's not what we're all doing today. No, somebody said, great, let's go do that. Yes, let's go be pirates and I'll be the shark today. Yeah. That's what they'll remember and take with them, that sense of somebody cared about me, somebody valued me.
Yes, absolutely. No, it is exactly what it should be. We're there, it's early years care and education.
Absolutely.
It's what we do. We care, but we facilitate that learning that the children have built within them because they are naturally curious.
Absolutely. And we hope that they come away from their time with us with that sense of joy. It hasn't been a really horrible time for them. They've had a brilliant time because they were able to engage in play. And as we've said, get all that learning without really realizing it. Yeah. And it's just been a brilliant time. And, come on, we're only children for a short time. We're adults for a very long time. We want childhood to be fun, don't we? To be full of joy. To be one of the best times that we look back on in our lives, not full of stress and anxiety.
We've got time enough for that later in our lives.
We absolutely have. We absolutely have. And for our very youngest children, no, they deserve better. They really do.
We do. And that's why I think we definitely need to lead that clarion call for play to be recognised as the child's it is recognised as the child's fundamental right. I mean, it's in the UN Charter of Rights of the Child. But it's that bit that we kind of need to say, well, do you know what? We'll shout for the children and say we need play to be the main thing.
Absolutely. And I think I say in the book as well, I'm happy to stand up here and fight for play. I'm happy to be somebody shouting for the right to play. And I quite often put on my Tales from the Sandpit quite regularly, at least every sort of 6 months or so. I am an advocate for play. I'm proud to be it, and I will always be it. And whatever form that takes, I will stand up and shout that play is the way.
Well, I think the way things are going just now, I don't think yours is going to be the only voice up there.
I hope not. I really do. We need as many people as possible to fight this fight, because it is a fight, sadly.
It is. And I think, those of us that have been in this sector for long enough and that believe in play will be with you alongside fighting that fight for play.
Love it.
Dawn, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been an absolute joy.
It's been lovely. Thank you so much for your time. It's been brilliant.
And join us next time for another edition of Circle Time, the Early Years podcast.